I read yesterday that Gandhi experimented with foods and diets, just like I have all my life, because I noticed that if I eat wrong, that whole day is ruined. I become like this guy, crazy looking and crazy feeling. I think low-fat fruitarianism, which uses high fat, low-carb fruitarianism uses high fat. I need that fat. The brain needs fat. It's made of fat. Fat is delicious. Fat is satisfying. With fat, you can eat very small meals and be satisfied all day long. With high-carb fruitarianism, it's just bulk and fiber. It just didn't sit right. I was miserable. I think I am sugar, starch, and fiber sensitive at this stage of the game. And low carb with high fat using avocados, almond butter, and maybe lacto, butter, cheese, sometimes sprinkled on vegetables. It's delicious and satisfying, and I feel much better. There's a book called Fiber Menace. You know, we're told to eat all this fiber, but in some cases, you shouldn't eat the fiber. You should lower the fiber. Fiber Menace. It was a menace. It was like having a truck in the gut. High fiber, high starch, you can keep it. High sugar. Sugar brings sugar rushes and then a plunge. You're up and down all day long. I don't need all that sugar either. It's perfectly fine to be low-carb fruitarianism. Not all fruit is high in sugar and high in carbs. Stick with the tomatoes, olives, avocados, nuts, melons, berries. Those are all low carb, and you'll have a totally satisfying day. Today I had a strawberry smoothie with a lot of greens in there. I don't particularly like salads. I put all my greens in the smoothie. And I think I had kale, arugula, spinach, and then Borg superfood powders in there. And then a lot of almond butter with it. Not necessarily in it, but eating with it. That just exhilarated me all morning. I was high as a kite. And then at the end of the 4-hour food window, I had a head of cauliflower with butter and Parmesan cheese on it. It was delicious. My net carbs were 30 for the day. That's low carb, that's keto, and I feel great. And it was largely fruit. Fruitarianism is fruits, leaves, nuts, and seeds. Usually 80% fruit, 20% vegetables. And you be satisfied. I feel so much better than with the starch and sugar. Most sprayed fruit with pesticides, which are horrible, stay all organic, are grapes and oranges. Well, once in a while, like in September, it's a grape harvest. My next door neighbor, I'll be going on the grape cure for cancer. That's high carb, so I'll switch to high carb. Grapes for 2 weeks. And oranges. I love oranges, organic oranges you can get at Walmart. My favorite is oranges and avocados. I call it satavo. That's a great breakfast. So you can switch back and forth, but I recommend staying on whole fruits. I had a problem with dried fruit. Too much sugar concentration, no hydration, the water's been removed, and even though it's organic, you don't know how it's been handled afterwards. I felt sick on some of that dried fruit. It was organic too. I'd stay with whole fruit, and it's amazing with such high nutrition. This is the highest antioxidants, minerals, and vitamins. You're so much less hungry. It scratches the itch a million times. You lose interest in food. If you do want to eat something else, you know what the safety net is. We've discussed that before. Fiber sensitive. You see, with things like fruit smoothies and almond butter and avocados and oranges and grapes, it gets right in. It absorbs right into the cell. But with all that fiber and bulk, a lot of you can have malabsorption syndrome. I know I do. My body can't absorb that. So it just goes through, it's awful. Malabsorption syndrome. Eat things that absorb right into the tissues and the cells. Then you feel exhilarated. In my book, Champion Guides, if you want a description of the low-carb fruitarian diet, lacto-fruitarianism, I wouldn't recommend getting shredded cheese. They put chemicals in there so it doesn't bulk up, so that it stays shredded. Very bad. Stay with whole cheese if you're going to have the cheese. I know the major proponents right now of fruitarianism are Durian Rider and Freely. I went that route. I don't recommend it. They had a group called 30 Bananas a Day. They're not at all afraid of sugar. In fact, they pile more sugar in their smoothies. 30 bananas in a smoothie and they put more sugar in it. Sugar is the body's first choice of energy. They say, yeah, I know that sugar is good. Sugar does not bring ages, A-G-E-S. And I don't believe it. I don't believe it. My book, Champion Guides, takes the opposite view. Low sugar, high fat, fruitarianism. Fat is wonderful. Fat is delicious. Fat is satisfying. Fat allows you to eat and not think about food the whole day. Those fruitarians are eating 3 to 5 times a day. And at night they chow down on more starch because their safety net is starch, rice and pasta and potatoes. I don't see all that bulk. It's just a waste of energy to have to digest all that. Forget all that. With small meals, high fat, no problem. Low bulk, no fiber menace, no having to spend all of 85% of your energy goes into digestion. Not having to digest all that. It goes right in. And then you're a Superman. No more the whole day wasted suffering. No more fiber menace. Digest quickly. The fat stays in the bloodstream. You're not hungry all day. Ecstasy. Ecstasy is the result of being released from the task of digestion all day long and having to eat again and having to eat again and having to eat again. Forget it. You can eat once. 4-hour food window. A smoothie. A couple hours later, vegetable, and have all the Parmesan cheese you want on, avocados on it, that'd be fine. Butter if you want, if it's lacto-fruitarianism. There, you've eaten in a 4-hour food window. Now you've got 20 more hours of ecstasy because all the energy is released from the gut to the brain. A friend of mine has sciatica, is it called, or sciata, a nerve thing in her back where she has tremendous pain, and she kind of milks it. She's, I'm having a problem with my sciatica. I'm on Tylenol. I've got to go to bed. I'm sick, and all of her friends gush over her. I'm so sorry. And I sent her a description of all the foods that cause sciatica, whatever the name of it is. And it is processed foods, starches, bad fats, sugars, bakery goods, all the stuff I've put down cause this condition of extreme pain in her back. Not a word back. Not a word back. Now, a lot of people get off on their illnesses. They get sympathy. And they go to their doctors. Very few doctors have had nutritional background. And they give them drugs for this sort of thing. And they're like this, but they don't care. And that keeps them coming back. If they take a nutritional approach and eat fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, the condition would go away because it's worsened by bad food. But the doctor doesn't tell them that. And then they get in a sick relationship with the doctor. Oh, my condition. Oh, my condition. It's all a big system, the medical treadmill. But it's there. All these bad foods cause this nerve condition of extreme pain in the back. And then on days when you're just doing fruits and vegetables, oh my, it goes away. What a mystery, it goes away. She wouldn't write back. She didn't thank me for the information. People get in a sick system with their doctors and their friends when they have an illness, rather than changing their diet. They don't want to stop eating muffins and sweet rolls for breakfast. They don't want to stop their bad oils and bad fats. They don't want to stop processed foods, processed starches and sugars and candies and all that. But that's what they have to do. So you see, that's the problem you have when you change your diet and your friends and family won't go along with it. In medical offices, doctors' offices, they're all blocked up. Their bodies are lopsided and they're filled with protuberances and fat pockets, and they're too wide and too fat and stocky. That isn't how the human being's supposed to look. You're supposed to be slender. And hardly anybody is, and they're filled with pain. And I feel so sorry for them, I really do. I'm not putting them down. But it's obvious what is happening. And like 90% of the people where I live, they're fat, they're big. They have their 3 meals a day, and a lot of it's fast food joints, using bad oils and mixing starches with the fruits and just mixing everything together. It's really too bad, but will they listen? No. Sciatica, that's the name of the condition. They call it a nerve condition. All kinds of reasons they're giving for it, but then they put in a footnote, it is worsened or triggered by bad food, or they don't call it bad food, but they list the whole thing, processed starches, bad oils, the whole thing. It should be at the front of the paragraph, not in a footnote. It's caused by bad food. And yet they're in all these medications for it. And pain relief. It's a lost life. Nutrition needs to be taught in the medical schools. It's not just a footnote. I can be so sick from eating something wrong because I am super sensitive. I have multiple chemical sensitivities, MCS, and that means I have to eat right because everything goes wrong. I become more susceptible to chemicals if the body's out of whack. So it's very, very important. And to think of all the people who are suffering like that, it makes me very sad. But that's why I've studied this so much. And thus I've labeled this video Disease Through Diet, or Disease by Diet. Diet is causing it. Diet is causing it. These are modern diseases. They weren't seen in the past. People used to eat and go out and work in the fields all day until they were in their 70s or 80s. People used to be agile. They were thin and slender and agile. They died of other things like starvation, but not all these modern diseases, which the doctors are hooked to because they get more business. They don't know that much about nutrition. If they were to say to the sciatica patient, well, change your diet and you won't have to come back. But they're not going to do that. And it's not cruel intentions, it's just how the system works. And what about Big Pharma? They have so many medications for all these modern diseases when it's diet that did it. I'll tell you, I hope this video wasn't taken off because of that. Because you can get in a lot of trouble saying stuff like that. But it's true. It's happened to me. When I eat wrong, I think, I have cancer. The way I feel, I gotta call a doctor. I fear cancer. This is terrible. When I eat wrong, it is hell on earth. And I thought, okay, it's over for me. I start researching things, oh, this is what I have, this is what I have. And then the next day, I eat right, no pain whatsoever, high as a kite, ecstasy. It is so clear, because of my chemical sensitivities, that diet did it. Today we went to Walmart. They have a huge organic section. And I just had a real craving for oranges. I grew up in orange country, La Mesa, California. Groves of oranges and avocados. It was that kind of thing. And I just craved it. And I thought, yeah, they're really high in carbs though, really high in sugar. I don't care. The body's asking for it. On certain days, I'm gonna have high carb. Oranges and avocados for breakfast. You see? And that's a day when you can have the refried beans, maybe as an additional, on some corn tortillas. It's a high carb day. You know what to eat on those days. And then you switch back to low carb if you want. It all depends. You use it as a rudder. You're driving a car. You say, okay, low carb, high carb, but you don't mix them together. You're gonna gain weight. Test me on this. Eating high sugar and high fat together, high starch and high fat, you're gonna gain weight. If you don't care, fine. But I don't feel good either. I never mix high carb and low carb together. Fat, low carb days, low fat, high carb days. Mix. These high sugar, low fat fruitarians, they say insulin should be predominant. Oh, they're big on insulin. No, they're wrong. It should be glucagon, which should be predominant. When insulin is low, glucagon takes over, and that puts you in fat burning mode. You burn fat for energy, you burn your own fat for energy. And it stops all inflammation. It releases all bloat and water retention from the system. It's just got everything going for it. Glucagon is biologic utopia. It gives you energy. We want glucagon. It isn't even in their vocabulary to use glucagon as a word. It's all about insulin. I don't want insulin. I want glucagon.